In this episode of Agatha All Along, we lost a national treasure. We learned some new knowledge, and we went a little further down the witch's road. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Branch here back with Geek to cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Agatha All Along, episode 3. And as always, for all things Marvel, the man, the myth, and the Marvel himself, your thoughts pertaining to the episode.
Well, let's go ahead and go since we'll go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room with your name tag. Yes, we lost a good one today. Like that
Bring her
it
back.
hurts. I started off saying which witch gets bewitched, and I didn't realize how right I was going to be in terms of that. Um, yeah, so this episode starts off with them going down the road now that they've entered into it and finding out that they have to overcome a set number of trials, and it looks like a trial per witch will be, put in front of them. They will have to overcome whatever it is that they deal with. And this one has to do with potions. And basically, we have a kind of a plan that's been laid out in front of them. They're locked into an escape room, more or less, and they have no other out except to figure out how to cure themselves before a timer expires. Now, with that being said, it's like somebody heavy's got to be pulling the strings. Somebody's definitely freaking set some like, is this just all a part of the freaking witch's road, or somebody in control of the witch's road? I don't know, but Miss Hart was there from start to finish of this trial. What are your thoughts on her so far?
She will be missed. She was a gem. She shouldn't have dove in for her purse earlier on in the episode, trying to save it from the mud. But hey, what happens, happens. And a bottle of wine was presented during the first trial that she wholeheartedly endorsed and doused because she, and I quote, has had a really tough freaking day. So she's had a tough time of it and has been slowly trying to work her way to wrapping around, going from just your standard neighbor, your gardener, and now Miss Hart is no longer with us. She drank the poison that everyone else did, and due to the fact she is a non-magical being, I'm assuming, is now no longer with us. She unfortunately passes away by the end of the episode through many trials. Go ahead.
But was that the case though? Was it because she was non-magical, or was it because she had twice as much as everybody else?
Hard to say. Twice as fast could have gone, sped up the process to the point that, which, spoiler hit for those who, saw the episode, there was an antidote that was made by our potions, which she needed some convincing near the end because she almost had a full on breakdown, but she got the job done. But like as she was brewing this potion, you want to talk about some of the series of events and some of the weird shenanigans that ensued in this episode? Because there was some way out in left field scenes throughout this episode.
All right, yeah. So left field, you definitely scenes. You got all the witches having to deal with whatever kind of fears that they had. Um, you think about Jennifer Kale. She was kind of going through it and trying to figure out the potions and being submerged into the sink and almost drowned. So that you have Lilia, freaking, she was going through it and she saw two people that absolutely freaked her out. She didn't know how to deal with that. Agatha pretty much went all the way back to what birth, which I think that was the birth of her child. So that she was, feeling some type of way about that. Um, we have Alice, like she was dealing with. So her mother was a guardian, and she didn't know what happened to her mother, so she was trying to figure all that stuff out. So seeing her mother and her mother screaming, she's unable to protect her. Like this has to be like one of the wildest episodes, one of the most frightening episodes, I guess, for the viewers. Like, what's going to happen? This is freaky. What is this? Everybody's going through hallucinations because that's part of the poison that was given. That bottle of wine, which was on the riddle, stuff like that. So they start off with a riddle, bottle of wine. Now they're poisoned. Guess what? This is the trial of water. This is what we have to figure out how to deal with that. And they were submerged in a big aquarium looking thing. That's kind of what the house was, a big aquarium. And they had to figure out potions, which have to do with water and various other elements and stuff added to it. So it was a wild ride. So that Jen managed to pull through at the end, even though Sharon did not. And again, that could be because of there was three factors. Sharon drank twice as much as everybody else. She was not a magical being as far as we know, and she got the antidote at the very last second. But remember earlier, she said that she was, our canary in the coal mine. So with that, she was the first to drink. I mean, she's going to be the first to exhibit symptoms and poisons, of whatever the poisons and stuff are. So she should have been the first to get the antidote if the antidote was indeed working and effective and doing what it needed to do. She should have got it first. She may have survived, but because everybody forgot about her until, oh crap, why is the timer still going? We need to give her some. Gave her some last minute, and granted, it was ingested, which is what opened the way out. But she
It
could
was
have,
administered as the clock was already beeping. So it's like you
yeah.
made the shot, but the buzzer's already going, so to speak. It doesn't necessarily count. Whatever happens afterward is null and void. And unfortunately, she is now null and void for all intents and purposes. Who's to say she won't come back in some capacity, whether there's something more to this? With magic, you can never say never, even though we did see a body. She was very still, eyes are wide open, and the teen astutely closed the eyes for her. But again, we have some big news on what we anticipate from the team because we probably will need to talk about it because we still need to
All
talk
right.
about Agatha giving away her firstborn. That was wild. I had no idea the character in the comics did this
So
for the Darkhold.
a lot of stuff I was waiting to say or waiting to divulge because I want to see how far they're going to get into it. I don't want to spoil everything for everybody before it gets, gets really good. So again, Nicholas Scratch, her child was given away for her to acquire freaking, extra powers with it, got the dark hold, all that stuff. And that's kind of what you see when you see the ring, you see the little locket type thing or whatever, a lock of her son's hair. Freaking it's almost like what's in there. So and she keeps the bunny around, which more or less could be, her son in rabbit form. It, so she still has a way to hold on to him. It could just be named after him. Freaking, it could be various different things. But that's something she did, and she would do anything at the cost to get her power up so that she could protect herself. Very selfish thing to do when you have kids involved, but again, we don't know her full circumstances as far as why. So at that, could he have had a illness and stuff that he was going to die from, and she sacrificed him to keep going through that pain towards? I don't know. I'm giving you just random stuff here, but what I'm getting at is again, there, you're trying to understand where Agatha's coming from. What is the reason why? Like, I don't think there's any reason why I would give up mine, but again, it was it just for thirst of power? Is she really as power hungry as everyone is making her out to be, or was there another reason to it? That's what we have to figure out in regards to Agatha.
And with everything involving Agatha, we're talking a lot about parenthood and we're talking about, kids. Everyone's been asking for the longest. 3 episodes in, man. 3 episodes
Uh,
in.
All right, spoilers. Look, people, spoilers. This is your warning right now. If you're going to proceed forward with this video from this point on, you will be spoiled by something that we found out, a little while ago. We already had our theories and speculations, but this is something that we find out. And again, there could be some truth behind it. There could be not. It could be whatever. So take it with a grain of salt, but this is it. All right. This is your spoiler warning. Brent, go ahead.
Oh god, I love doing spoilers. Everybody, Wiccan is the teen. Aubrey Plaza's character is Death. Those are the big spoilers that everyone has been looking out for. Those are what, as of right now, according to DIS space period trackers, has released this image because Funko Pops does tend to release early images of future pops. And if you notice, Wiccan has the cut directly on his eyebrow, directly where the teen does. So just pointing that out, we may have accidentally unearthed who the teen is. It could be Wiccan. Who put that spell of sealing over his mouth? That is something that still will need to be discussed because we'd all assume that if the teen is here, he's coming to find a way to get Wanda, which would also explain why he's super familiar with Agatha. Wanda would have sent her down this road in the alternate universe from Doctor Strange, where she was still alive. She would have been like, if there's anyone that knows how to get me back, she would have been the one to have the information to go ahead and push Agatha down this road. You may not like her, but she's definitely powerful enough to have made this happen. So a lot of crazy stuff. Again, take it with a grain of salt. It could be one of those still images that Marvel releases every so often just to throw people off the track. But again, I'm starting to believe that I may have accidentally called it in episode 1 with, who the teen is. But again, this is only episode 3. There's a lot of stuff still to speculate on. Overall, still a great series. Really excited to see where everything plays out, even if I know the teen is Wiccan and Aubrey Plaza is Death. There's still so much stuff to speculate on, like why everyone's here, ulterior motives, how the road's going to play out. There's a lot of big stuff left to still divulge and dissect into. Anything else from this episode you want to discuss, Will?
Nothing else. Again, they name dropped Mephisto. Like, how much more, devious can you get as to play with the fan base and tease them with all these different things going forward? So, again, freaking, with the earlier videos, even as I sit here, you kind of see a little spike horn start to pop up. Like, Mephisto is going to be something that can really cause some issues, throw some wrench, some things. But again, when it's all said and done in magic, magical beings can be dealt with by other magical beings, i.e., it sealed away, locked up, cast out, whatever, to return. So they could be here for a brief period, they could be here for a long time, causing ruckus. Remains to be seen. But somebody's pulling the strings on the Witch's Road, because I don't think the Witch's Road just exists and works within its own devices. I think somebody has to kind of set this stuff up. And it very well could be Mephisto, or he could have a hand in the reason why the teen has a sigil that keeps him from divulging who he is. Who
Sounds
put this there?
interesting.
Who did it? Who set this up? Because we still got the Salem Seven, which I know who the Salem Seven are. I know who they revolve around. I don't want to spoil that yet, but there's more
We'll get
stuff to
there
be had when it
when
comes to the Salem
we
Seven. So
get there.
we'll
A
see.
lot of exciting stuff. Stay tuned. Be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. Greatly helps us out and keeps you in tune for all that great stuff. We have watch parties every time a new episode drops. The next time you'll be seeing us is later tonight for The Rings of Power, episode 7, the episode right before the season 2 finale. Be there and hang out with us. See you then.